Welcome to Rackets Biz, the only podcast that delivers data-driven insights into today's rackets industry. New clubs are opening consistently in the United States and all over the world. Some make it, some go out of business quickly. As an investor and facility operator, what is it that you need to know to create constant cash flow and consistent long-term ROI? Join me for today's episode.
Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Dominique Lemperle. Today's guest is Patrick Chucri, the founder and CEO of Picklers, the first pickleball-focused club in Dubai. Before building Picklers, he spent 16 years in the media, representation, and investment world, developing partnerships and leading commercial strategy. He also represented Lebanon in 31 Davis Cup ties. His journey blends sport, entrepreneurship, and community. Today, he's focused on shaping the growth of pickleball across the Middle East. Patrick, welcome to the pod.
Thank you for the introduction, Dominique. I'm very happy to be here and sharing insights with you and, sharing, having a great conversation about racket sports and pickleball as well.
Yes, looking forward to it. Tell me a little bit about how you grew up, what racket sports you grew up playing, and what motivated you to grow pickleball in the Middle East.
So basically, I'm Lebanese. I was born in Lebanon in 1981, which was during the war. And at the age of 3, we had the opportunity to move to Belgium. And so we moved there and we took a house right next to a tennis club. And I have 2 older brothers that used to go to their regular tennis lessons, and I used to go along. And I immediately fell in love with tennis, or the club vibe. One of the two, I'm not sure at the time, but definitely the tennis was very much involved. So I used to play on the wall all the time. I used to go to the club every single time I had the chance to. It was walking distance from our house. And I grew up in Belgium, in a club vibe. And I kept playing and improving. And, one day the coaches came to my parents and say, hey, your kid is really talented. We think he can be good. He should play more often and stuff like that. And then, one thing led to another, and I was amongst the best players in Belgium under the age of 12 in tennis. And what I really loved about my growing up playing tennis in this particular club in Belgium is the club vibe that they were able to create. And so I did not have growing up like, oh, what is Patrick going to do? Activities, going to play, soccer? Is he going to play? Is he going to do swimming, basketball, and so on? No, it was very clear Patrick would just go to the tennis club and play tennis all day long. And, I became good. Then by the age of 12, the war was over in Lebanon. We moved back to Lebanon. And then there things, were quite complicated to train. You're experienced in the tennis world and you know how, the ecosystem around tennis needs to be perfect in order to have proper practice and to improve. But then things were slower in Lebanon. So, I was still improving because my body was growing. By the age of 15, I got the opportunity. It was a childhood dream of mine to go to Florida in a tennis academy, and I joined one. And then I improved a lot. I was 250 in the world in juniors, under 18 ITF. And then I got the chance to get a scholarship and to go to Ole Miss, University of Mississippi. They had a very good tennis program. I really enjoyed the city. I really got along well with the coach. So joined that, played 4 years there. We were, throughout the 4 years, top 10, Division 1. And I studied international business. After that, after I graduated, I turned pro. I played on the circuit, playing futures and challengers, and I got up to 1,000 in the world in singles and 500 in the world in doubles. However, this was within 1 year. However, the story with tennis. It's a very tricky and challenging sport to become a professional in. And although I was a professional, but it's not like I was top 100 in the world. So I decided to call it quits, and I started working. And so this was like my tennis career before I started working for the media representation company.
So you have a European background, then moved to the Middle East, and right now you're growing pickleball as a tennis player in a environment that's very focused on paddle at the moment. So that cannot be easy to be one of the first ones in a tennis and paddle heavy environment. Tell me about the landscape right now with pickleball in Dubai.
So exactly. So basically, initially, when we first opened the club, it was not a pickleball club. It was a touch tennis club. I don't know if you know what touch tennis is.
No.
It's a modified version of tennis. It was invented in the UK. And it's a great sport. It's an amazing sport. It's played on a smaller tennis court with sponge balls and a 21-inch tennis racket. And I built a business plan around that initially. And we opened the club, and it was the first touch tennis club in the world. And what happened, so we opened that in 2023. And of course, I knew of pickleball, but like a lot of tennis players, I was very skeptical about pickleball. But then, I was doing more and more research, and I felt like touch tennis was a bit challenging because, first of all, we know the problems that tennis have. It's not a sport for everyone. It's a difficult sport to learn. It takes time to learn. However, touch tennis is slightly easier, but it still is a bit difficult. So I was at the club, and you have a lot of people that would come in and just try touch tennis because they heard about it and they heard great things about it. But you felt like they would not enjoy so much. So all of this was, in the back of my mind. And I felt like 6 courts were a bit too challenging with all the costs that we had to run this club. We're in the central of the city of Dubai. Dubai is a very expensive city. And I took the decision to transfer 3 courts out of the 6 to pickleball. And I decided to say, so this happened in 2024, in July 2024, so the club was a year and a bit more old. And I decided to wait till end of December, till the end of the year, and to do a proper comparison between the two. And in the same time, I will learn more about pickleball. And basically, it took us 2 weeks to realize that this was the future. And we took the decision to pivot completely to pickleball within 2 weeks only. And Picklers was born in just a year ago, in October 2024, with a full-on pickleball club with 6 courts, socials, lessons, and and the whole 9 yards. And I'm very, very happy about the decision because I'm very addicted to pickleball.
Yeah.
What I thought about pickleball was very different before playing and after playing. The sport is just incredible. There's this reputation of the sport being so easy, especially as tennis players. You're very proud, and the sport is easy, it looks silly, and it's for old people and people that are not fit, but it's really not the case. Just try to play singles pickleball, for instance, at a high level. You need to be very fit to be able to play that. And even doubles at a high level, you need to be very fit to play it properly.
Yes.
So we did this change, and it's been, the ride has been incredible so far. And we were the first club. And, to go back to one part of your question, in a market where paddle is so big, here paddle is huge. Just around us, there's like tens of clubs, and we're talking indoor clubs.
Yes.
And, it's very, very challenging. However, I felt like there still is room for both sports in any city of the world to grow. If we look at statistics, we see that, racket sport players, whether it's paddle or pickleball or even tennis or badminton, is exploding around the world. It's not like it used to be where, especially with tennis, especially growing up in tennis, where tennis was for to the upper class, for families that could afford private lessons and being a member in a club and things like that. Now they're able to position these sports that can be played for free in a park, and they can be played, in a professional environment, in a beautiful indoor club and so on. So basically, it's a sport for everyone now.
So you were talking about it's difficult as a tennis player and now as a pickleball player to gain respect as a pickleball player. That's got to be amplified, especially in Dubai.
Definitely, so we're the first ones here. We were the first ones here to do pickleball, and with the market being so challenging because paddle is very much there, but there are other forms of competition also within the market of Dubai. There's basically there's a lot of everything, and a lot of professionals in basically everything here in Dubai. And the fact that I'm quite influential because of my past in racket sports, in tennis particularly, this helps enormously, because when people would come and try the sport for the first time, me or the coaches being on the court with them, it took a lot of that. Being on the court with them and explaining to them the sport and the strategy to use behind the sport, the technical aspect of the sport, and all of these things actually helped a lot in influencing, in being an influencer into the sport. And I think that worked very well, and I think it's very much of a must. So whoever is listening to this and thinking about opening pickleball courts, whether it's a big indoor facility like ours here or it's a few courts here and there, and in a market where, not like the US where pickleball is so big, but in a market where pickleball is still a bit relatively unknown and not very much played, that person needs to really understand the sport and also be a good player, because people will look the way you play. People will Google you sometimes. Very well, Dominique, and you've been in the racket sports world for a long time. You hear a lot people saying, "Oh, I'm a professional in tennis," and you're like, "Professional in what?" Like, I should Google you if you're really a professional and find you, but it's a lot of the times not the case. So people have these habits. They look on Google and now ChatGPT or YouTube and stuff like that, and you should be influential, in this ecosystem, so that it helps converting people into the sport.
Yes. So tell me, how many players do you have at Picklers, and who are they? Are they only playing pickleball? Are they totally hooked on pickleball, as so many are here in the United States? Or do they still play paddle and tennis as well?
So it's a mix of a lot of things. So right now, so we adopted Play by Point. We're the first ones also to adopt Play by Point. I don't know if you're aware with their software. The club management software that they have. But we white labeled it as Picklers. It's very famous in the US for pickleball clubs and paddle clubs and also tennis clubs. And so we have the data, and we launched Play by Point. We launched our app back in April, so about 7 months ago. And we already have 2,200 people that have downloaded the app and have created an account with us. So this is one data that we have. We also have other interesting data. We have around, on average, 110 people walking through our doors every single day. And not all of them play, of course. Some of them are just, accompanying others playing. So this is the kind of data that we have. Also, our occupancy rate at the club is at about 35 to 40% right now. Obviously, during evenings and during the weekends is the busiest. The tricky part is during the day, especially in a city like Dubai, where it's a city where everybody literally works here.
Yeah.
Also, now who's playing pickleball? basically, initially, the first ones trying pickleball are people that enjoy racket sports initially, and they would have a great experience. And then from word to mouth, it keeps expanding. We're also very big in building the community. We have a WhatsApp community group of 840 people at the moment. And all of this has happened within this year, so basically in 1 year. And things are definitely on the right track. So we have a lot of people. We have some people that have completely stopped paddle, that used to play paddle, and they decided to stop. Sometimes, pickleball can be lighter on your joints, lighter on your shoulder, on your wrist, on your forearm, because the paddle in pickleball is a lot lighter than the paddle of paddle.
Yes.
And also of the tennis racket. And also the entry level of pickleball is a bit lower than even paddle. We often compare, paddle saying, oh, that's why it's doing so well because it's easier than tennis and so on. But pickleball is even easier than paddle because paddle you need to learn how to play with the glass, which is a bit difficult at first. But if you ask me, I strongly believe that both sports will keep growing across the world. I understand very well that paddle is trying to gain from the market in the US, which is a huge market, and I completely understand that. And I believe, if the job is well done, they will do well. And I also think of the same with pickleball, whether it's in the Middle East or in Europe. It will keep on growing, and we're seeing the expansion of courts and federations being created across the world with pickleball. It's growing extremely fast, especially what's happening in Asia right now. If you look at Vietnam, India, Malaysia, Philippines, it's literally incredible. And both sports, in my opinion, will keep growing, and tennis will also remain. Tennis will remain. Because tennis is a sport that is very much people enjoy watching more than paddle or pickleball, and that's why tennis, with all of its history, will definitely remain. I'm not sure if I'm answering your questions or I'm going a bit further than that, but basically this is a subject that I love, that I feel I understand a lot, and I could talk for days and nights.
Now you have pickleball is big in the United States. There's so many different clubs. It's available outdoors for free. Indoors you have to pay. Paddle is mostly indoors, some outdoors, but it's not as available as pickleball in the United States. How is it right now in Dubai? Are you the only club, or do you already have competition for pickleball?
So there is another place. It's not really a competition in my opinion, but it's like the closest to us. It's a place, basically it's a paddle club, and they added 4 pickleball courts to their within their club. It's indoors as well, and they do socials, they do some tournaments from time to time and things like that. So they're the closest to us. Now there are lots of more pickleball courts, but it's like 1 court here, 1 court there. It's not well organized. Coaching is not really present. Coaching is very important, I believe. So it's a bit far from our offering. But it's definitely growing, and the fact that we've taken all the risks, and people see, they come to our open place, they come for our different socials, they book courts and so on, and they see that okay, it's definitely growing, it's very, very obvious, and now we have a lot more people that come into the club, and they start asking questions about about the club, like, I want to during this session, but I know very well that some of them are really looking into investing in pickleball and opening clubs themselves. Some of them are smart enough just to come and ask me, well, how is it, how difficult it is, what are the things to do well, the things not to do, and so on. And I'm very transparent, because the more clubs that open, the more the sport is going to become popular. So I want people to open more. So if somebody needs an advice or two, I'll be more than happy to to share that information with them. I'm also in conversations because my plan has always been to scale.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just this one club. So my plan is to open multiple clubs across the Middle East. Saudi Arabia is a very big market that I'm looking into. I mean, these are conversations we're having with different investors and things like that at the moment.
Yes,
And
tennis is big in Saudi Arabia right now. Riyadh is a hotbed for tennis right now, as I can see.
yes, so you have so they're investing a lot in tennis, and I definitely think they should invest a lot in pickleball as well because they have the vision or the 2030 vision, and they want their population to get moving more, to get into sports more, and I think it's very smart to do so. Saudi Arabia has changed a lot the last few years. And we, not just from the sports industry, but every single industry sees the potential that this country has. Now, luckily, we've done the first one in Dubai, which is the most popular city in the Middle East. Everybody around the world knows Dubai and wants to come to Dubai if they haven't been to Dubai. Have you been
Yes,
to Dubai or not yet?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
you
I
have?
was there.
Okay, good. When was your last
Yes,
time?
I was there about 10 years ago for the
Okay.
WTA tournament.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Had a great time in Dubai.
Yeah, it's a very cool city, and it keeps expanding and growing. And I've been living in Dubai for 16 years, and it's incredible how much they keep growing, and they take smart decisions, and they're fast with their decisions, very very
Yes.
quick with their decisions, and it's just the way forward.
Do you have plans to go to Abu Dhabi as well?
Yes, definitely. So this work like so having pickleball clubs or paddle clubs, real estate is a big factor in decisions. So basically, this could do well basically anywhere as long as there are enough people around the club, and they have the means to spend, in
Yes.
US dollars around $100 to $150 a month. So you need to have enough people that can, spend on an activity like that monthly, which you definitely do have in Abu Dhabi as well and other cities around Dubai, around the UAE. And so opening in Abu Dhabi is definitely part of my plan as well.
Yes. Are you looking for investors or is this basically a solo operation on your part?
So for now, the structure of this company, so I'm the founder and so I'm the CEO. I have so I invested myself. I'm the major shareholder, and I have four other investors that are silent. But now for this type of expansion, I'm looking at bigger investors, which I am in conversations with. I just need to make sure that these future partners are aligned with my vision. That's very critical for me. It's not just about how much money they're going to put in. It's about who they are and how aligned we are and what value can they bring in. This is what I'm looking
Yes.
for. So I'd rather do things well with what I'm comfortable with than I'd rather not do it than doing it like that. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Do it
Yeah,
the right way.
do it the right way or
Um,
not.
Yep. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the United States for years and years and years. What lessons have you learned while peeking over at the United States? What what do you want to avoid and what do you want to adopt?
It's a very good question, and I'm sure I'm still going to learn a lot down the line. Honestly, I think I've learned a lot from mistakes happening here in the club, more than what I've seen mistakes because in the US, for example, because it's a different market. But like there's a few things that I really really make sure that we invest in is the community. I strongly believe it's extremely important to build a strong community.
Yes.
Having good tech partners as well, technology for the growth of and especially for the expansion of the Picklers brand, if we want to open multiple courts, and the staffing. So you need very strong coaching. I strongly believe in having professionals around the club as much as possible to help out the players that just pass by and try sometimes. We still spend a lot of time on the courts. In the beginning, when we first opened, it was obvious, the rules of pickleball is something that most people didn't know. I mean, not most people, almost everybody didn't know. And now, it's getting easier because more and more people are playing the sport. And so let's say if I didn't know the rules back then, I come to the club, I try pickleball, I learn the rules, then I bring my friends, and I myself can explain the rules. At the beginning, it had to be myself and the coaches here.
Yep, I understand. Okay. And what is your overall vision for Picklers, let's say 5 years down the road? Do you want to be established all over the Middle East with several locations open?
Definitely, that's definitely the plan, and I see a huge potential and a gap in the market. I'm not saying that we won't be adding paddle to our offering. Just like you see new paddle clubs in the US, they're adding pickleball to them, just to ensure to attract players. I believe that both sports, and even if you have the space, maybe adding tennis courts as well.
Yeah.
I'm not against it at all, and I think that some people like paddle, some people like pickleball, some people like tennis. We're all different. But I wrote something on LinkedIn about that. Like, don't judge another racket sport without trying it properly, because I'm sure that if you really like one racket sport, you're gonna like the rest as long as you try them in the right circumstances.
Yes.
So in a nice facility, good courts with good teachers, people that understand the sport, and the leveling as well.
Yes.
I mean, if I'm a complete beginner and I try whatever paddle for the first time with pros, I'm not gonna enjoy my time so much, or vice versa. I'm gonna feel like I'm lost here. What is this? And so definitely expanding Picklers across the region, across the Middle East, whether it's going to be investments directly from our company or through a franchising model. Both options are viable right now.
Yes. Now, last question. When I think of Dubai, I think of Real Housewives of Dubai. Lots of great cars, shopping. Have you ever thought about creating a partnership like that and getting them to come out and play?
Like what? Oh, themselves, like the Real Housewives of Dubai?
Dubai.
Oh, honestly, I've never thought about it, but maybe I should think about it now, now that you mentioned it.
Yep, that might be great TV and give you so much exposure. I'd
You're
love to
right.
cover that.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe I should. Very good idea. I don't watch much TV. I'm in the club most of the time. First of all, I refuse to watch any types of series because I think it's a waste of time. And so this is number one. And honestly, I don't really have the time. I have 3 kids. I'm in the club most of the time, and I would feel guilty if I go home and start watching TV. So I don't. But I know of I know of the series, and maybe I should reach out to them.
Yeah, might be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Patrick, is there anything else you want our listeners to know before we go?
Well, not really. I mean, if anybody wants to get into this ecosystem, whether it's as a business or just out of curiosity, please reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen in the next few years. We're all excited to see, hopefully, pickleball in the Olympics.
Uh-huh.
Scholarships in the universities in the US. I think that will be a huge step. And I can't wait for the sport to keep growing. I know for a fact that it's going to keep growing here in the region. It just needs the right people to to open up courts and to ensure a good experience for every player that tries the sport.
Patrick, I wish you best of luck growing pickleball in the Middle East. And thank you for tuning into the pod.
Thank you so much, Dominique. It was lovely speaking to you. And hopefully on your next trip to Dubai, we'll play pickleball together.
I cannot wait.
Don't miss the next episode and subscribe to Rackets Biz on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Like us on LinkedIn and Instagram. See you next week.